Hello, and welcome back to Conquering Finale. My name is Jason Lafredo, and today I've got a new Spotlight on Plugins video for you. This is a brand new RGP LUA script by Jacob Winkler called Page Format Wizard, and man oh man am I excited about this one. Jacob gave me an opportunity to beta test this a little bit. It's really awesome, and I can't wait to show you this. But before I do that, if you don't have RGP LUA installed, if you don't know anything about what that is, I'll leave a link right here and also in the description to watch a video to get RGP LUA installed and show you how to use it and everything. And eventually you can download that Page Format Wizard script and it will end up in your RGP LUA set of plugins here. It's right here, the Page Format Wizard. But before I even show you that, I just want to help put this in context. So the main thing about this plugin is that it solves sort of a quote-unquote problem in Finale. If you have not seen the video Page Format versus Page Layout, again, I'll leave a link here and in the description. I really suggest that you do that. It's one of the more popular videos in the series. It is one of the most shared videos in the series for a very good reason. Page formatting in Finale is like oddly weird, like it's unintuitive in a very specific way, and it trips up a lot of new users and even intermediate users. You can watch that video, it'll show you exactly what's going on and why it's important. But the gist of it is, if you go into the document menu, you have these options for page format for both the score and the parts, and it pulls up this window. And intuitively, you would think if you make changes here and click the OK button, it's going to change everything in the score, but that's not what happens. What you're doing is changing the default settings. The pages that exist in the score have already been basically generated from the default settings and now are set. So it doesn't matter what the default settings are anymore, those pages are set. So what you would have to do is change the page formatting for the score here and then go to the page layout tool and go to this option for redefining pages. This redefines the current pages to match the default settings. If you don't do it this way, you get a lot of weird things where pages are mismatching. It's a whole thing. Like I said, it trips people up a lot. The other way to do this is actually to choose one of the more a la carte options in this page layout menu, say resize staff systems, but you have to remember to check the update page format option here. Then when you do make changes here and have this checked, it will make the changes to the score and then also update the settings in the page format for score or parts if that's what you're working on. So again, just intuitively, it's a little bit weird that you have to do this, but that's how it works. Again, it's not a bug per se. It's just sort of a little bit of a weird design. So this RGP LUA script basically solves that, plus some other amazing things that it also does, which I want to show you. So let me just get into this. Let me go into my RGP LUA, and I'm going to find the Page Format Wizard, and ta-da, here it is. The first thing that you'll notice is that there's basically three columns. You have a column for score, for default parts, and for this thing called special parts. Now these can all be checked and unchecked, and when you uncheck them, you can see that they kind of get grayed out. Whatever you have checked, those settings will be made to both the score, the default parts, and the special parts. So if you have, just these two columns checked, then only these two settings, groups of settings will apply, right? So you can do this individually on a default part, on the score, however you want, or you could do them all at once. Now, here's the thing. When you change things on the score and the default parts, what will happen is that it will make all of these settings appear in the managed part of the page format for the score or the parts appropriately. Plus, it will also then apply those changes to the existing pages. So it's sort of doing both of those steps all at once, which is intuitively what you would expect it to do. So that's like the number one sort of advantage of doing this from the Page Format Wizard. When you use the special parts, this is a little bit different, and this is completely unique to the Page Format Wizard. What this does is it allows you to check from this list certain parts, like if I want to change my piano vocal part to be a little bit different, now I can actually go and set this up in a completely different way than the default parts. And there's this really handy couple buttons up here, copy from parts or score. And when you do that, it just literally copies whatever the settings are from the default parts or the default score. And then you can make your changes from there. So that's sort of the special parts. What you have to understand about the special parts is that there is no sort of internal default setting for these special parts. This column is basically making a la carte changes to those particular parts. So if you were to make changes here to the piano vocal, and then later on, you know, you're going to do something else, you're going to change all of the default parts again because you wanted to make another change, you have to understand that that will actually now undo all of the changes that you made to the piano vocal part. So you do have to be a little bit careful here and understand that the default parts column will change all of the parts all of the time unless you also have this checked, and with certain things checked here, then it will actually kind of do all of the parts except this one. You know what I mean? So you just kind of have to understand what you're doing with checking and unchecking these particular columns. So all that being said, let me kind of dive into the details, because like I said, this does a lot of the work that, or a lot of the settings that you would find in the page format windows here. It actually does a few extra things, which is really handy too. And basically, I mean, I'm not going to get too close into the details here, but all of this, you know, the settings basically match here. They are organized a lot better. I will also give you that. You know, look at the original page format for score window. You have your page size and orientation in the upper left, but the page margins in the bottom right. Like, why aren't these two next to each other? You know what I mean? From a standpoint, they should be on the top and the system's margin should be on the bottom here. Like, that always never made sense to me. Why are they so far apart? In Jacob's page format wizard, they're all right together. So your page settings are in this upper left quadrant here. You have your page size and you have your margins all together. It just makes sense, right? Your system settings are all in one section. That's basically this top right corner. And then you have the staff settings, which I'm going to get into because this is a little bit unique. There's some things going on here that do not exist in the page format for score. But anyway, you can kind of see how all the settings kind of match. You've got your page size equaling your page size. You can change the width. You can change portrait. Your system margins, top, left, right, bottom, they're here. You have your distance between value here, 0.25. Again, they're just organized a little bit different and probably a little bit better, but all of the options are basically there, right? There is another advantage that the page format wizard has over this, and that's that you can actually change the page, the units differently for the page settings and the system settings. And I'm going to talk about the staff settings because this is actually completely different. I can't do it until I leave here, so let me just close that and go in here. So if you wanted to deal with your page settings in inches, you can do that. And if you wanted to do your system settings in EVPUs, you can do that, right? Again, in that other window, you had to choose one unit and stick with that for both. So this is a really cool little thing to do here. And I should also point out that all of these unit fields actually work in the same way that any unit field in Finale works. So if instead of 0.25 inches, even though you're showing system units to be inches here, if you type in 2 centimeters, 2 cm, it will actually go ahead and convert that. So that's also kind of handy that that he was able to do that. So let me just get into this staff settings section because this is rather unique. So in Finale, you have all of these units: EVPUs, inches, centimeters, points, picos, spaces. But interestingly, the normal way that most copyists from the dawn of copying time dealt with staff sizes is in what's called Rastral Size. And there's these sort of set of Rastral sizes, standard sizes, that have been around for a really long time, all the way back since the plate engraving. And they went by sizes, 0 all the way through 8. And so now in Jacob's page format wizard, he's giving you those options and he's giving you them in millimeters as they should be. Finale is the only program that does not give you the option to set these in millimeters. Again, you're just limited to whatever these are. So you can choose from one of these set Rastral sizes. And again, Sibelius and Dorico does it like this. This is all suggestions from Behind Bars also uses this set of Rastral sizes for reference. And of course you can customize it, and the little arrows here will go up and down by 0.1 millimeters. But if you just choose one of these, it will set it to that. And what's really nice is that it also gives this sort of description. I think this is sort of paraphrased from Behind Bars: full scores, miniature scores, Qs, size 5 is for full scores, etc. So again, it's really cool that we have the option to do this in millimeters like we're supposed to. The one thing about this is that in this particular field, you cannot enter a different unit. So you can't write in 0.25 inches or something. It's just a little bit trickier to convert from millimeters into one of the normal Finale units. So this option is only in millimeters. And then right here, this is normally we'll say don't respace. You have an extra option here for staff spacing, and you have two options: set to and scale by. You also have this don't lock or unlock systems. Again, this will do just that. It will either lock all the systems the way they are, or unlock them, or don't do anything. But the staff spacing, where it says don't respace or set to, this actually comes basically from the staff tool in the respace staves section here. And in the bottom portion here, you do have these options to set to a certain unit. In this case, it's set to 1, or scale to a certain percentage. I guess the last time I used this, it was 101%, or set to scroll view spacing, which is sort of not all that useful. So Jacob actually included this little feature, these two little options here, set to and scale to respace staves, right here in the page format window, because as you'll see when I demonstrate this later, it's very relative to the work that you're doing to change the size. So if you change the size of the paper and the rastral size and everything, you might need to spread the stabs out a little bit. So he's giving you that option all in one thing. And I really like the option to use the scale by here. You can do all of the systems, or you can check the first button and do the first page differently than all the other pages. Definitely going to show you this in the demonstration later. But yeah, so that's what's going on in the staff settings. It's a little bit different than what you're used to, but much better in my opinion. So let me get into just sort of doing a practical demonstration of this. So the score that I have set up here, it's originally set to legal 8.5 by 14. I'm just going to deal with the score for now. So let me just uncheck the default and the special parts here, and we're just going to deal with the score, right? So let's say I wanted to convert this to tabloid 11 by 17. Easy enough, just choose tabloid. We are going to make some other changes. We're going to change the rastral size. Because we're going up in size, we definitely want to make this a little bit bigger. Let's try 5.5 millimeter. Let's see what happens here. We don't really need to scale by just yet, so let's see what happens. And you hit apply, and just like that, we've set it to tabloid, and in the page format, it is now set to tablet. So, you know, again, that's the big advantage, and it happens right away. The window stays open, so you can continue to make further changes, right? Let's just say that 5.5, maybe that's a little bit too big. Let's just change that just a little, make it 5.4. All right, and then we can make other changes. Let's say we're gonna, you can see that there's a little bit too much space here, so this is where I'm gonna use this staff spacing option here. I'm going to choose the scale by option. And also I'm noticing that maybe this is a little bit close here, and so we can change that. That would be in the system settings, different first. So let's make this maybe 1.7 instead of 1.4. And then let's also make the other pages, so pages 2 through the end. Let's try this at 102%. Let's try this at 102%, even though I'm adding a little distance here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Actually, that's really good, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just looking at this page. So you can see how you can kind of achieve a lot of different things all at once. I've just changed the staff spacing. I've changed the rastral sizes. I've changed the page unit sizes. I don't have to go in and out of multiple menus, multiple tools and everything. It just all happens in one place brilliantly like that. It's really, really clever. So let me do another one. I've done the score. Let me do the parts. So let me move over to the first part here. And again, when you have default parts checked, it's going to change all of the parts all at once, right? So currently I have this set at 8.5 by 11, but you know what? Let's say we're going to do this on 9 by 12. So easy enough. We'll change that. Since we're changing the page settings here, let's change also the staff size. Let's go from 7.3, make it a little bit larger. Let's try 7.7. And let's see what that does for us. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Oops, get a little perspective here. Yeah, so that's looking good. Let's see what I have. 3, 6, 9. What I really want to have is 8 and then 10, 10, 10, 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 9 and 10. So let's do something here. We could change the top system. Let's make this like 2 points. Have these numbers here. 2.4. 2.4, and let's do the margins between 0.22. again, I've looked at this ahead of time, so I know exactly what this is. But you know, what's nice is that you can, you know, keep this window open and keep trying different numbers until it looks good. And yeah, with those numbers, you can see how nicely it's set up. I have 8 systems here, I have 10 systems here, 10 systems, etc. And they're sort of nicely lined up in a good spot. So again, I just happen to know those numbers, but what's really nice is that you can change this really quick right here, make a change, and nope, that didn't work. So go back to 2.2, apply that. So you see how quickly it is and how immediate the feedback is, right? All right, so that's the default parts. And then let me just, again, show you how the special parts column works. So let's go over here into the piano vocal. So I've just set all of my parts to be 9 by 12, which means that this piano vocal part is also 9 by 12. But that's not what we want. The piano vocal part we want to be set on 8.5 by 11, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check the special parts. I'm not going to check default parts for now. I'm going to end up just copying from the parts just so I have the same settings initially and then make my changes. I'm going to change this to 8.5 by 11. For the staff size, 7.7 is way too big for a piano vocals part. I think I want somewhere around 6.3. I think is good. What I can also do, because I know this is going to go into a binder, is I can actually offset the pages, the page margins a little bit. So let's choose the facing pages option here. And what's nice is that you also have this auto option so that it will automatically follow the left pages if you do have this option checked, or you cannot do that. So for the right pages, which is the first page, right, we want a slightly larger right margin, and on the left pages we want a slightly larger left margin, I think, right? So we can set the facing pages as well. Again, we'll set the systems. This should all be good. 6.3. I'm not going to do anything with staff spacing just yet. And then what's really important here is that you have to check which part that you want. Now, one thing you notice here, see how all the parts are really out of order? If you look in my edit parts menu here, they're all in the correct score order and everything, with the piano vocal being on top. But over here, it's all the way at the bottom. This is a little bit of a limitation in RGP LUA, as Jacob describes it. Part of the problem is that when you create parts, the parts are given an ID, and the ID number exists in order of how you created them. So if you create your parts a little bit out of order, this is what will happen in this RGP LUA window. So it's not a huge deal. You just have to find the ones that you want to change. If you have a nice clean file that you started from scratch, these will probably be in order anyway. But in this particular file where I've done a lot of manipulations over the years, sometimes things get out of order. So I'm just going to make sure that I have piano vocal selected. And again, you can select as many as you want. If I wanted to do the same settings for the piano, I could. But in this case, I'm just going to do this on the piano, piano vocal. I'll hit apply, and it will change it to 8.5 by 11. We've set it to 6.3. We've got the facing margins correct. Everything is good to go. And once again, just as a reminder, remember that these settings are not stored anywhere in Finale. Finale doesn't have a place to store them. Finale only stores the default settings for the score and all of the parts at once. But this piano vocal part is a special part. There's no default settings for it. So if you ever make changes to the default parts without having this checked, you're going to destroy what you've just done here. The other thing that's kind of nice is that you can actually do this differently for different parts. So if I go over to my piano part, and let's say my pianist said, you know what, I also want to put my music in a binder on 8.5 by 11 paper, you can do that. But in this case, I don't want to go all the way down to 7.3. I want to leave it at the same size as the other orchestra parts. So we could do just the piano part at 7.7 millimeter on 8.5 by 11. And let's say, yeah, we'll do the facing pages again, because again, they're going to put it in a binder. And let's see what happens here with these settings. Yeah, again, I can tweak these. I can get a fourth system on here just by, messing with the distance between the top one here. Let's just do this actually. Let's try 1.8. Does that fix it? Yeah. Yeah, again, you can go through and tweak it a little bit, but now we've got 4 systems and then 5 systems throughout. So again, it's pretty cool that you can do this. And as you can see, the feedback is instant. As if you're showing the part that you're dealing with, you'll be able to do that. And of course, you just watched me do this, and I did it separately for the separate parts, separately for the default parts and the score, etc. But if you really know what these need to be, you can literally just set all of these up all at once, have everything checked, hit apply, and it's done. All in one shot, everything is done. All right, so yeah, that's the page format wizard. I'm really excited about this. As you can see, it's a much better user interface than the way that Finale does this natively. So yeah, kudos to Jacob for creating this incredible page format wizard. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks, Jacob, for building this script. First of all, it's really amazing. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you soon on the next video.